Well, Canada has given a reprieve to an NBA player who's faced years of difficulty traveling outside the United States. Enes Kanter plays with the Boston Celtics, and he is Turkish. He says his passport was revoked by that country's government in 2017 because of his outspoken criticism of the president. But with Ottawa's help, Kanter will be in Toronto for tomorrow's Christmas Day match against the Raptors. Laura McQuillan is here with all the details on this story. Geopolitics meets sports once again. Laura, what do we know about this?
Absolutely, John. So Enes Kanter hasn't played in Toronto for more than a year now. He skipped games here and in London in the last season because of safety concerns. He has been an outspoken critic of the Turkish government, of the President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in particular, over human rights violations in Turkey, especially since that coup attempt back in 2016. But writing an op-ed for the Globe and Mail, he said he will be able to come to Canada, to Toronto, for tomorrow's game. Now, he said in that op-ed he faces death threats almost every week, that he's been harassed in Boston or wherever he's been playing in the United States. It's been an open question whether he would be able to come here, but it's been answered. Take a look at what he wrote in that op-ed, saying he wants to thank Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government, US and Canadian law enforcement for working diligently to make my Christmas game against the Raptors possible and ensuring my safety there. He continued, and on Christmas Day, I will play my first game as a Celtic outside the US when I take the court against the Raptors. Now, John, as you mentioned, Kanter has said that his passport was cancelled by Turkey 2 years ago, so we don't know exactly how he's going to be able to enter the country, but I have reached out to a couple of government agencies this morning for clarification. I'll bring that to you when I get it.
There is no question that Kanter has a complicated relationship with his home country. Walk us through some of that, Laura.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that he's been more fearful of leaving the United States, where he's a permanent resident, since January, because that is when Turkey said it was seeking an international arrest warrant for him, accusing him of membership of a terrorist organisation, but not specifying more on what that was. It was seeking his extradition from the US to Turkey. And as I mentioned, vocal critic of President Erdogan over that crackdown since the coup attempt in 2016, jailing dissidents, journalists, academics. But also, Enes Kanter is a follower of really Turkey's public enemy number one, Fethullah Gulen, who is in exile. He's a Muslim cleric living in exile in Pennsylvania and a really strong opponent of Erdogan. So as a supporter of him, Kanter has really refused to shut up and dribble, as NBA players have often been told, or other sports players as well. We saw that during that feud between the NBA and China earlier this year, when, for instance, LeBron James seemed to be pandering to China a bit. We saw a tweet from Enes Kanter that I want to show you just quickly, saying this: hasn't seen or talked to his family in 5 years, that his dad's been jailed, other issues including his passport being revoked, and accusing the Turkish government of trying to kidnap him in Indonesia, saying freedom is not free. So he's been very outspoken, always expected to continue into the future, but it appears that Canada and the NBA have been able to ensure his safety to come to that game tomorrow, John.
Thanks for this, Laura.
You're welcome.